But can I just say one thing before? If there's anything you want to know technically about Jess, about what the making of it, Jess is here to ask the questions, because it's been quite a miracle that we've put this together. You know, we're not a Disney production. There's Avi, there's Jess, and there's Terry in the corner. I'm handled with the energy as well, so I get a bit bemused as well. But if you want to ask any technical questions about the making of it or any aspect of it, that's also okay. Jess can answer those. One thing that just before, I'll take your question, but just before the question, one thing that comes over to me that I perhaps took a while to understand. You know how Groundhog Day, about doing the same thing over and over again. Actually, if you read through all the books, In Your Life After Death, the book tells what happens when you die. And it takes you through the process. You don't know you've died. You don't think you've died. You think you're still alive. And so you still have the same beliefs that gently start dissipating about what it is. And then you get a life review, which is going through everything you've done and worked on during your life, successes, failure, not failures, no such thing, not so good experiences. And from that, you decide what you're going to do next. Nobody dies ever. So you're looking at what is your next adventure as an aspect of God. What are you going to do next that will enhance and enrich the whole, if you like, that you can take back. And the Groundhog Day refers to this bit. So you're there, you're on your cloud, and you've got your advisors around you, and you've just had your life review, and you've learnt what you've done, and you've learnt what perhaps you might need to do again, or you make assumptions on what you'd like to do again. You're never coerced. It's always your decision. And what happens is, you take in all this information and your guides are saying, if I were you, I wouldn't go back to Earth. If I were you, I'd go to somewhere else, do something else, because your progress will be incredible. If you go back to Earth, Groundhog Day, and you start doing the same thing over and over again, and it might be that you've come to Earth, you went with the heading of relationships. I need in this lifetime to be able to understand relationships and love at a deeper level than I've done in the past. And you come to Earth and you put on your Earth body. You have to. There's no choice about that. So everything that you've ever been on Earth before sits on your shoulders, like the dark one in the wardrobe, not the light one. And you put this on, and so you weighted down from day one. It's really hard to break through that. So you're thinking, this time I'll learn how to get really deep in a relationship, and you do the same old mistakes. The groundhog, you do it again, because it's really hard not to. Addiction or anything, because you're putting it back on when you come here, you're not only tainted, you're starting at a minus before you start, and then you don't do it, and you go round again. You go back up, you die, you get in the queue, you have your review, and you do it again and again and again. And that's what Groundhog Day was referring to when you keep coming back. It said you keep coming back. That's the explanation as I understand it, and that's the decision-making process. So one of the things Joseph, the spiritual world are not allowed to influence you. You have free will. It's a law that writes over everything else. So they can't say, you stupid idiot, do this or do that. They can just gently say, if I were you, this is a point of view that might be of interest to you. And so from that, you can make your own, you can always make your own decision. What they'd like to say is, cop on. For Christ's sake, how many times are you going to come down here and do this, you know? And so that's what it's all about. That's what I've got out of reading all the books and living Joseph, if you like, that whatever happens when I die and I get to that review point, I'm not coming back. And this flies in the face of quite a few spiritual beliefs that go around, because a lot of people believe that it's a karmic requirement to come back, that if you don't learn your lesson, you need to come back to learn the lesson. And so people might say, well, I'm not coming back again, meaning they've learnt the lesson. Well, you'll learn it an awful lot quicker somewhere else. You don't need to come back in the Joseph communication philosophy. And all of them would say, and they say to us privately, you know, don't come back. Please don't come back. It's making the energy more dense down here. It's making it more crowded. I mean, I don't understand why it is so crowded down here. You look at, I like looking at demographics, and you look at the Western population, and the babies born per couple are reducing. In Italy, it's less than 1, and you need 2.5 to sustain a population. So where are they all coming from? And it's this fact that we're all coming back, and it's coming in from all sides.
But I think the reference there is to the film that a lot of people are aware of. And that's where, I can't remember who the actor is, he went through the same thing. Bill Murray did everything every day. So the analogy is with the film and not actually the creature. But I don't feel that they would, because on a soul level, when they get back and they realise the mistakes that they've made, they don't actually want to do that as a soul. And also that attraction is a bit of a kind of a symbolic thing. Oh, I want the beer and the cigarettes and things. But what is really pulling people back are the thought forms that they've left behind on the earth, and that's explained in the spaces between. So they're sort of attracted to these partly formed children, but they're not angelic children that we would have formed as angels, and it's explained in the fall. They're sort of thought forms that we've left behind on the earth. And when we go over to the spirit realms, they're sort of left here. But then if you incarnate again, they're all waiting for you. And that's why it's not a good idea to come back, because all the mistakes that you want to not do this time will be waiting for you as those thought formed children.
How do you not come back? By making the decision, it's yours.
When you're up there,
Yeah,
you just decide
yeah,
to come back.
yeah.
It's not to do with what
I wish
you're
to,
doing now.
no, I wish to move on. I wish to go. There is a very organised place, and all the routes are mapped out, and they would help you because they don't want you to come back.
And that decision, is made after the life review. So when you go to the spirit realms and you've retained certain sort of memories, there's a point where you have to review the life that you've just lived. And there are advisors, and it's all a very kind of managed situation. And at that point, you're advised not to come back, and you're sort of shown the path that you could have in the spirit realms, and sort of the easy path and the path of progress. And then you may be shown the life that you will have here. And people still want to come back because there's this magnetic pull from those thought forms and that unfinished business on earth. So people, they are advised not to come back, but we're quite stubborn as fallen angels. So.
You're looking at that from an earthly point of view, an earthly thinking, and I really don't believe you'll make that decision. It's a bit like the alcoholic who has to stop drinking, and he said, right, this Friday when my mates ask me to go out for a pint, I won't go. My wife's marriage is suffering. On Friday, I'm definitely going to say no, because I know she'll leave me if I don't say that. Monday, he reaffirms it. Tuesday, he reaffirms it. Wednesday, he's getting stronger and stronger in his reaffirmation. Friday comes and the lads say, are you coming out for a pint? And he says, yeah, all right. And so there is that aspect of earthly thinking that isn't necessarily there when you're making these rarefied decisions on the other side.
And also, I think the fact that you've investigated spirituality in this life, I think you're not likely to, you know, I think you will retain that. It's sort of the people where they never investigated it. So you've evolved beyond that stage. And I don't know what your life has been on this level, but a lot of people, spiritual people, they come back in order to teach. There's two reasons why people come back. One's because they want another go on the merry-go-round, and there's others where they want to teach and help others when they're here. And some people, they do forget the mission when they're here, or you know, but I think you'll be fine. And the answer is no, the Lords of Karma do it for you. So there are people who are in a better position to make sure that if you go back, there's a good chance it's your last time. So you might want to come back in luxury and have a wonderful life, and the Lords of Karma give you difficult parents to challenge you, poverty, or there could be, you know, whatever is best for your soul, but not necessarily what's best on the surface.
It's not getting too technical on the how. There's a precision in everything that happens. Cause and effect is just linked
simple.
everything
Right, what
together.
you say, it was in the Book of Truth. It said God is very simple, very logical, and very orderly. There's no mystery whatsoever.
And the heading,
That is right.
yeah, God only counts to one. There is only one. We're all connected. Everybody's interconnected. Doesn't happen. You're lucky. I feel lucky that happened today, because the Persian gentleman doesn't come through other than the intentions and to direct us in the animation, things like that. He can't. And so to get that today is quite amazing. And even though Michael was stuffing him with chocolate cake and food now, he'll still suffer for a week after that.
He's going to suffer, and we had to give priority that he's got to bring the angelic intention through, and that's where it's helping to save the world. So that's the priority, and unfortunately he would like to have answered your questions, but he just can't.
And the World Meditation Alliance, they tell us, is one of the most important things. We're doing the work. We're actually bringing in the light at such a high level, because it's not us, our light. We're aligning with that angelic intention, and it's the angelic realms that then can download that light at a far greater level than we ever could. So it's enormous amounts. For every one of us that sits, it's many times of angelic light going into that download of information. So the work we do together is absolutely incredible and amazing. We're doing it. There's not many people on earth doing it, but we do only need, it's like the 100 monkeys, you know, we only need a certain percentage of people on the earth doing this, and that will raise the vibration of everybody else around them. Do you know the story of the 100 monkeys? No. Yeah. So it's, you get to the 100 monkeys doing something on the, I better tell you now, because there's people don't know it. There's some looking strange. On an archipelago off New Zealand, anthropologists were studying the monkeys there. They were uninhabited islands, and the monkeys lived off sweet potato, yams. And the monkeys used to get the potatoes and they'd bite all the outer flesh off because it was salty. There was only salt water. Or they'd wash them in salt water, and they got down to the centre bit in the middle, and they'd eat that because it was free of the salt. They didn't like the salt, okay? And the anthropologists were watching this, and it was custom. Every monkey did it. So you teach your young monkeys to do the same. One day there was this errant monkey, a baby monkey, that got his sweet potato, went to a stream in the middle of the island, washed it, and ate the whole thing. And so he didn't have to spend hours biting off and getting rid of the salt water. But the others went mad. They said, "What are you doing, you naughty monkey?" They thought. "You can't do that. This is not what we do. We don't do that." But then another monkey did it, and another monkey did it. And the anthropologists were watching this. And soon it got to the point where 100 monkeys went to the stream and did it and ate the monkeys that way. At that point, when there were 100 monkeys, every monkey on every island, all around, all the apples changed. Irrespective of whether they knew about it or not, they all changed. And saved themselves a heck of a lot of time in washing salt water off monkeys, off young potatoes. And that's the way it worked, critical mass. If enough of us, and it only needs to be a small percentage, it was 100 for them, but if we are doing something that other people are not doing, in the way that we're doing it, where we're bringing in all the angelic intention, if enough of us do that, and enough of that energy comes through, which is the key, everybody will change. So it's not hopeless. When you look out there and see that it's hopeless, it's not hopeless. We're looking at critical mass. We have to just get to the right numbers that allow the right amount of energy to come through. Everything will change overnight.
And if it was hopeless, PG wouldn't waste his energy and Michael's in bringing through the next intention. So as long as Michael's still bringing them through, there's hope.
Yeah, as long as the intentions come through. Yeah.
And Tony delivers them. And the answer is, going back to what I said, some people come back to teach and to have a mission, a spiritual mission. So that sort of falls into that category, as opposed to these sort of wicked people that come back and cause lots of misery. But there isn't sort of really that kind of, not queuing, but constraint. Both sets could come back. So it isn't an either or situation. But yes, you're right. Good people can come back and sort of bring their light, which is probably what all of you've done. You know, sort of, you know, if you're WMA members, you've come back to help save the world at this time.
There's no judgment on the other side. So in many respects, if you've had a bad life and seen the light, that's a probably better scenario. You come to learn a lesson. I remember Michael once saying to me, you know, there's people meditate for silence and they spend 10 years or 20 years learning to get into total silence. And Michael would say, well, what have you got at the end of that? You've got total silence. And the meditation is about learning to communicate. You know, we're acknowledging the spiritual world around us. And the more people then that start being aware of those peripheral things that are going on in your life, like Michael, I don't know that anybody could see the Persian gentleman there. He could see him as clear as a bell. I know I nearly exploded with the energy. I don't know how the rest of you felt. So I could feel it a little bit. But we start learning about a different way of sensing that's around us. And we don't then judge the good and the bad and all the other things. It's about learning the lessons, and the lessons are tuning in. Once you start tuning in, then you start doing the meditations, and you start allowing the spirit world to come into our world, to the material world. So it's does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I know, because there's also the situation where all the thought forms that are waiting for them. So those people would come back maybe with the best intention, I'll do it right next time. And often those people were the leaders of the fall, and that's why they sort of rise to that again, because that's sort of waiting for them as well. But unfortunately, those thought forms that are waiting for them pull them down the wrong path again. So and I don't know how the Lords of Karma work, so I don't know. You'd hope that they would have done that, but obviously it doesn't happen for some reason, so I don't know.
You have choices you come here, you put into your life by it's planned as best it can be planned, but you can go good or bad in various points in your life. And I believe those points give you a second chance. So I remember for me, up until I was 40, I wouldn't have even been in a discussion about spirituality or religion or anything like that. I was into business, and you have these inner urges, like I had a big one running about failure. I failed all my exams, and you just need a brother who's a genius next year, and it brings it up, especially if it's a younger brother. And then the younger brother beats you at sport as well, So you're growing up in a lovely family, but you're bouncing against this all the time. And so what it brings up is words like guilt, fear, inadequacy, whatever it is. That crystallizes itself as an emotion within you. And for me, that's the lesson. And the family was just right. To bring this to the surface so that it comes to be the surface to be dealt with, because those are the things, the emotions are the ones that you're shedding in your life. Emotions are the manifestation of those things that you decided before you came here. It's how it works in the body. So for you to make progress in this lifetime, for me, you have to spot those emotions, you have to work through them, and then you've got something to take back. You've improved that, yeah. Snap. You had a sort of a brother, did you?
Older brother, genius. Yeah.
Right. I had one saving. I had one saving grace. I could beat him up.
Pull his ears.
Yeah, I could do it. Yeah. But yeah, we all have those. Everything in life. It might be an illness, a grinding, long-term illness. It can be anything, but it's part of your plan, and it might make you think, "Poor me." I remember a little girl saying to me once, "Thank you, God, that's another blow you've dealt me." She's only about 12 or 13. She came for therapy. "Thank you, God, that's another blow you've dealt me." I thought, we need to really look at some beliefs that are running here on what life's about, because they're there to work through. They're put in your path. And when I was 40, something clicked. And it was the very beginning. It was basic, but I no longer wanted to be in business. I was no longer trying to prove myself, if you like. And I realized that there's other things other than the material. And that's the point you've got to get to, I think. And then you put your foot on the ladder and you start from the beginning in the spiritual world whilst in a material body.
And I did wonder myself, to what degree is this literal or metaphorical? But I'll let these guys answer that.
We're looking at how questions, and for me, the answer of what we can do is what we're doing. We're spreading the light, and as we bring in that light, everybody in every situation starts looking at those situations. And the situations themselves are subject to the light. Everything changes. And that's what we've got to work at the highest level. I think it said the spiritual level, didn't it? Spiritual problem, spiritual solution. And so the spiritual solution is spreading the light, putting light in everything. You're in our little healing group on a Monday, and you see amazing healings that take place. I put in yesterday a girl in the group. The healing group just sends light. We get a name and an address possibly, and we send light to that person. And I put somebody in who's really having problems with self-guilt, self-esteem and everything. And I've heard already that today that she's just for some reason come out of it. And this has been going around for years. And she just came out of it. And that was us spreading light. We were addressing a day-to-day problem for a person, but what we were doing was just holding her in the light and the solution came. The universe, once you connect to the universe all around you, once you get into that connection, you plug in. Once you plug in, miracles happen. We call them miracles, but then you get used to the miracle and they're no longer a miracle. But that's what we're doing. We're plugging in and allowing those spiritual forces to take over. And if the problems are too big for us, we say that. Michael's always saying that, isn't he? God, this is too big for me, I give it to you. And then solutions arise.
And also for those people, if they understood some of the Joseph teachings about co-creation, where as you think, you sort of create and you draw it towards yourself. So if they sort of, and they might not get out of those jobs today, but if they kind of every day said, thank you, Father, that there's a better opportunity coming, that would come. And just to take Jess as an example, so, and she didn't badmouth her mother, but at a certain age, she said to her mother, I'd really like to do animations. And her mother said, no, Jess, you're not good enough. You get a proper job. So, but Jess sort of put that wish out into the universe, and it came back years later as that beautiful thing that she's just done. So for them, they can get out of it, but it might not just be immediate, and they have to sort of visualise it with gratitude, and something will turn up.
No, Claire first. It's everybody. It's for everybody as well when you put the energy out, because there's millions. Each one of you will have your own issue. We all do. We go on, we get new issues. But by working at the level we're working at and bringing in the light that raises the vibration for everybody in every situation, it's a different ballgame. It's a different platform. They go away, those things. They're no longer relevant. And it's that knowing. You know, on the animation, I can't remember which part it was, it said it showed pictures of wealth coming to the family, of pound notes, telephones, and all this stuff. And it showed something missing in your heart. Does it keep something missing? And so you walk away from it, or you don't walk away from it. But if you do walk away from it, you've closed it down. You know how they were saying about deconstructing? You've closed it down, and that allows the new to come in. And sometimes that has to happen. I've seen it with my family and things where, you know, they're struggling to want to try and understand and create a new direction, but you have to let go of that other first. Conundrum situations arise as well, which hold you. So it can be, I love the house I live in, but I hate my husband. And if I get rid of that, I lose my house as well. So these conundrums are things that hold people stuck in situations. And sometimes you've got to be very brave.
And sometimes with the Lords of Karma, because we do have free will, but not everything is absolutely determined, but there are certain milestones in your life where you're free to do what you want in between. But if you haven't gone down the path you're meant to, sometimes there's this milestone that's saying, right, you will change, you will confront this. So that's where the Lords of Karma plan certain wake-up calls if you haven't already learned.
It can be, there are lots of situations that do arise like that. Like, I've got 2 children, and these are things that I've seen in therapy many times. I've got 2 children, nice house, my husband's alcoholic. And so what do you do with alcoholic? You either leave them or you join them, because nothing else works in the middle of it. And so a lot of people might move to drinking far more than they would normally drink, just to keep the thing together. So there's all these conundrums, and that's what life's about. And again, somebody said, you put that up there. You can put, I don't know what to do in this situation. Please guide me. I know you do. Please guide me. There was a has anybody heard of Findhorn Foundation? Yeah. Okay. The Findhorn Foundation was founded by 3 people, man, wife, and a third lady called Dorothy McGregor, I think it was, Dorothy McGregor, and I've forgotten the name.
Dorothy McLean, Eileen County, Peter
Eileen and Peter Caddy. Eileen was a very, very good psychic medium. Her books, she's brought some beautiful stuff through, totally in alignment with our books. But in there, they had a horrendous journey. I've read all the 3 autobiographies. They're all 3 side by side in this venture. And each one of those books, it could have been a different part of the world. And yet they were each writing from a different focus. So that's what happens. You know, you're in a relationship, you're in a group, you'll have one focus and somebody else can see it totally differently. And that's what happened with Eileen and Peter. And Peter was an organizer, and they had this big hotel they'd just taken over. And the chef was drunk. Do you remember this? The chef was absolutely slaughtered out of his mind. He was alcoholic, and they had 150 people in for dinner. And he just passed out in the kitchen on the floor. And you go, my goodness, what shall I do? So Peter, who's a really organised man, he called in Eileen, his wife, who's very psychic, and he said, I don't know what to do, I can't cook. And Eileen asked him, and her message from God or whatever said, give him another whiskey. So they fed this drunken chef whiskey. He got up and cooked 150 meals. So there's all these conundrums, you know. But they asked, what do we do in this situation? The answer was an unusual one, but it is about putting it up there and trusting. I think it was Eileen's trust more than anything else that a solution would come from that situation. And so that's what we all have these.
And that's the importance of being guided by the God within from the heart centre.
Absolutely.
So you've got a guide within to tell you what to do in any situation, but it's just harder to access it, especially if you're stressed. Somehow that connection, if you're really stressed, you can't access it as you can during the peace, during meditative times, or just so.
Yeah.
The solution to all our problems is through the God
Yes.
or higher self.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You've got to turn from your lower self and redirect that to your
Yes.
higher self. And, you know,
Yeah.
if you know how to.
But in a panic situation, you may not always access that. You need to be able to get away just for 10 minutes.
And this is
get
why
the
in our
information.
meditations
Yeah.
on a Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we ask you leave the troubles at the door, but then we spend some time really relaxing our bodies and trying to come out of our minds so that it increases the connection. That's what we're doing by all that. We're getting a stronger link that allows that energy to flow at a better level. And I mean, the inner circle do things like we don't eat meat, we don't drink alcohol 24 hours before the meditations.
Don't argue, don't look at too much politics.
They ask that we don't watch the news, which we don't anyway. So all those things help to strengthen that connection on a Friday. And when we're all getting together doing that, wow, it's a strong connection, which I know you can all feel on a Friday. And I do thank you all for your dedication in that. It's amazing. We're, 3.5 years in that now?
I don't know, times are split.
Yeah. And it just gets stronger all the time. So I do thank you all. It feels to me like it's a very, very strong family. They talk on the other side about having soul groups. And soul groups are people with an interest that get together. Our soul group, the Joseph and the PG soul group. But that's what I see in our family of the WMA on Zoom and in the room as well. That we are a soul group, we are a family. We have one thing in mind that we're all getting together to do. And it's amazing the results we're getting. And we're being told of the results we're getting as well. Am I going on a bit too long?
No, not at all. And Tony doesn't regard you in any way as the 100 monkeys. That was just a coincidence.
No, I do. Yeah, it's a lovely analogy though, because it just makes it so. We could do an animation on the 100 monkeys. Your next one, Jess. So,
feature film.
anything anybody want to know about the making of the film while Jess is here?
I was just gonna say, I think depending on who you are and what stage in life you're at, you'll get something different from it. And I think you can watch it, even, I've watched it 1,000 times and I still pick something up that hadn't quite clicked before. So I do think depending on who you are and where you are, you'll get different things out of it, and that's what I hope.
Children love it, don't they?
They seem
They
to.
get it straight away.
It should be shown in schools.
Yeah, it'd be lovely if we could get that out there.
I think where we can show it too. I mean, there are people that I can't send certain stuff to on Facebook and so on, but I'm thinking, I'll send that to
Yeah.
this person.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Our
Yeah.
daughter loved it, didn't she, Terry? She's 8, our daughter, and she was genuinely upset when the angels lost their wings. She was like really heartbroken about it and wanted to see the next instalment to know what happened. So she was happy with the ending.